everyone. How are you doing today? My name is Lindsey Hollin. I am your host of Farm and Ranch Friday podcast. Sorry about that.
Uh-oh.
Sorry, got a little feedback for everyone.
Oh,
um, Sorry about that. My name is Lindsey Hollin. I'm your host. I am here with Halle McCrory. She is one of our rock star agents. If you followed the last podcast where we did kind of the best practices for preparing for an open gate. Halle is new to Farm and Ranch. She is actually I'm actually one of her mentors, helping her with this. She came to me. She had a few ranches ahead of this and said, "Hey, I need some help. I'm an expert in homes. I'm an expert in buildings, in new construction. But I'm in an area of San Angelo, and I'm getting these leads. So, as her broker, we took the time out to talk about some things. And there was this really awesome ranch she wanted to promote, and explaining open gates and how they're similar and different from open houses. So if you didn't see that, watch the podcast before this. We go through some items on how to prepare. So we had that open gate at Max Efforts Ranch in San Angelo, Texas. So we're kind of doing a little follow up because there was some aha moments. There was, man, we forgot to do that, which, it happens. We can't be perfect. And then I even had some things where I was like, man, I forgot yeah, I got to do that again. So we wanted to go through this post of open gate as well as cover, agent follow up and also buyer follow up. We had some buyers show up without representation. And prior to this prior podcast, Halle covered squeeze pages and tricks in marketing. So kind of going through that follow up as well. So very excited to have Halle. Thank you for joining us again.
yes, of course. Always fun.
I know. So as you can see on the screen, this was her flyer that she promoted about the open gate. And, she also had that QR code in there. And we wanted to let y'all see kind of what we were working with. I think I'm just going to cover. There was a few things from the last meeting. I actually had other farm and ranch agents call me. They're like, "Hey, I don't know if you know this, but we do XYZ." And I'm like, man, I forgot that from our list. So just to cover a few things when preparing for the open gate. The one thing is that it's not a single home. Obviously, it's multiple improvements on acreage. As you can see, this ranch is 330 acres. So there's a lot of ground to cover. And you're going to need some help because you may be at, the headquarters working on the improvements or talking about the improvements with one client. And you're going to need some helpers to be driving around those other clients in a buggy and seeing the high points of the land. So Halle did an amazing job. She had some seasoned helpers as well as some rookies that were learning the ropes. And that was a point we wanted to talk about because you do not, for liability purposes, and for selling purposes, want these clients and these agents who've never seen the property before going out on their own. These ranches may have animals. They may have, in San Angelo and some other West Texas towns, everything has thorns. We have rattlesnakes. The wildlife, especially if it's a very big, exotic high fenced ranch. So you want to make sure that one, you're keeping your clients safe and you're keeping those agents safe, those guests that are coming to the open gate. But also too, it keeps you in control of the pace. Presenting the property just like when you present an open house. Obviously, you show them in a certain order based on the features, and the same production is done in an open gate. And it might be better to show them the high points of the land first before showing them the improvements in the house and things like that. Halle has on this property, she has some beautiful water features. There's some great trees and vegetation. There was deer running around everywhere. So sometimes it's better to take and have that plan before you're there that day to have the plan. Okay, we're going to follow this trail. We're going to show, this tank first. We're going to show this water feature. We're going to show the fence lines next, and kind of have that whole production wrapped up, and then teaching your team as well. I'm like I said, Halle had some seasoned volunteers, which is great to have that, but, letting them know, hey, listen, here are the questions you can answer. Kind of here's the dialogue. If you're driving everybody around in the buggy, here's the trails you're going to follow and the high points, and just having that instruction so they can help you on that. I did cover having a route to drive the ranch. That's something I do prior to the actual day of. Obviously, if you know, like we said, we started with, you know, how to prepare for an open gate. One of the things you want to do with the client is not only prepare the fence lines and prepare driving paths so it's easy to get through, whether it be with a buggy or a truck. But, you know, having that presentation, so you're showing the best attributes of that ranch and you don't miss out, because obviously water features, fence lines, any improvements, wildlife, vegetation. We had a client, Halle and I were on the buggy, and they were just naming all the trees and all the bushes. It would, you know, that matters to some buyers depending on how they're going to use the ranch. As some of y'all know, a lot of the hardwoods can tell you a lot about the water table and if there's water features there or there's water underground. So, you know, it and a lot of people just like trees in general. So to be able to say, man, look at that big oak tree, and knowing where they are on the property so you can feature, you know, the beauty of the ranch. So that was something I like to do well before, even in my listing interviews with a client. So we're prepped for that day, and it looks good. And like I said, has that Sunday best on. And once again, the reason you have good helpers is no one walks around alone, for many reasons, especially for liability reasons. And also, you know, your client may have sections of the property he or she doesn't want people to see. You know, in this scenario with Halle, you know, the client actually had a storage building, had a bunch of stuff in it, you know, was kind of an eyesore, and she didn't want anybody to see that. So, you know, knowing kind of where to guide them, and also your team of helpers can guide that. And with the safety side of things, there's two sides to safety. There's safety to your clients and your guests, and then safety to your agents. You know, we had a bunch of women out there, and, you know, Halle and I were gone sometimes, and sometimes people were left up front by themselves. So, you know, what is your safety plan as far as, you know, if someone showed up, you know, knowing that it's a ranch in the middle of nowhere, you know, how are you going to handle that situation and how are you prepared for that? Also, if there's an emergency on the ranch, say you have a client that has a medical emergency, you know, what's the evacuation plan to get them to medical care very quickly? Some of these ranches, the only way you can really get medical care there quickly is by chopper. I know some people have actually, in the farm and ranch world, have invested in some of that life flight memberships for those scenarios, and we have had that happen. Not only agents, but, you know, somebody falls down. We've had people fall out of buggies. I mean, anything can happen, you know, when you're in the field. So having that plan in case the worst case scenario does happen. Rattlesnake bites, obviously time is of the essence there as well. And those things do happen. We have a bunch of horror stories from agents and close calls with rattlesnakes in the farm and ranch field. So
in West Texas.
I got a little worried being in San Angelo. The weather was really hot that day. We actually had a beautiful day, and I'm like, are they coming out today? I was like, I wore my snake boots. That's the other thing about hazards, dressing appropriately. Not everyone understands when they come to a ranch about those hazards. You know, people come in flip-flops and sneakers. So making sure that at least your staff and your help is prepared. You know, we had our snake boots on. It was, you know, we knew we were riding in an open buggy. We had our hoodies, we had covers, we had all the things you need to show a ranch. You know, you're not coming in high heels to the open gate, although sometimes we have guests that do, and just making sure that if there's any tripping hazards, they're taken care of. Some of this might actually sound pretty, you know, common sense, but it's our job to think ahead of time for our clients and then for the agents and our helpers. So it never hurts to just have that reminder there. So, you know, on that, moving forward, Halle had, you know, I commend you. You had a great showing. I know that you always think you could. I know that you're like me. We always know we can do better. We should have done something different. But you did for a farm and ranch open gate. I will tell you, you had a great showing. She had agents show up. She had neighbors show up. She had clients she had customers without representation show up, and now they could be potential buyers. So, Halle, you want to tell us a little bit about, kind of your feel of doing it for the first time?
Yes. And we talked about, so that my biggest thing that I'm about to say, we actually covered last week. And I think the biggest thing that if I could do it again, I wish I would have started marketing it earlier. I'm so used to only marketing a week out for residential properties, but with farm and ranch, it's very clear that you need to do it, I think minimum 2 weeks, but I don't know, based off what we've talked about, it seems like 3 weeks to 4 weeks, a month is probably the best. I guess I just didn't realize how much of farm and ranch is out of town buyers and out of town agents bringing these buyers. So I didn't think about the time and planning it takes for these people to, take off whatever they're doing, make a plan to come in town, whether that be driving, flying. I mean, Texas is huge, so could even be from a neighboring state. Just, taking that or giving them that period to plan to come. So I feel like we potentially could have had even more people. But yeah, I think that's my biggest, I don't want to say regret, but going in the future, that's the biggest thing I want to focus on is getting this marketing out earlier.
Absolutely. And you targeted something that most people don't realize, that farm and ranch brokers and farm and ranch buyers majority of them are from out of town. They might be buying their first ranch and they're from Houston, and their broker sees this open gate and they're like, okay, I have to get with them and their schedule and for them to travel, and do you have the kids and do you have the dogs, because we all understand that life. So to be able to, in my mind, it gives the farm and ranch agent time to plan and take time off, and then also the client. And sometimes we wear that residential hat and we think everyone's local, looking for a property. So definitely good takeaway, because you can see me in the first podcast when she goes, I mark it out a week, and I was like, whoa, girl. I was like, we need to talk about minimum of 2 weeks. And that's just, it's not obvious. You don't know until you're in the business to kind of understand that, wow, a majority of our clients are from out of town. Like that one set of clients that came without buyers, what did they drive? A few hours to get to the property?
About an hour.
Okay. Yeah. They came from, was it Midland, by the way?
They're from Midland, but live in Robert Lee now, which is on the north. Well, I guess actually, no, they probably only drove like 20 minutes because we were on the north side of town. So yeah, not far for them. But,
not far for
we could have had potentially other people, if they were living in Midland, we probably wouldn't have had them.
Yeah. No, so great point, which is why we want to follow up with everyone, because these are points that all of us can miss. And so, going back, and because it's always good. Hey, we should always go back and do a review and a follow-up of how we can improve, what worked, what didn't work, in any of our presentations. So this is awesome. Also, Halle, covering you taught us about squeeze pages and client follow-up as far as the technology side. And I know I will tell you, we got a ton of feedback from our last podcast where people were like, man, I spend hundreds of dollars on these marketing materials, these printed brochures. And you talked about that squeeze page, which they could snap, the QR code, which all of us know what a QR code is after COVID. And they had to put in their information. So that got back to you. And then they get all the information on the property. And that was just, there was a lot of ahas, I will tell you. So I would say thank you for putting that tip out there, because I feel like farm and ranch agents were used to kind of doing the same thing over and over again and printing out those beautiful brochures. And so, this was a really cool tactic for you to also capture that information. So do you want to talk? I would like for you to talk about the technical side of the follow-up as well, especially with the tools that you set up, because we had so much feedback on that.
Yeah. Do you want me to show how to do the squeeze page real quick again as well? Or do you just want me to?
Yeah, Yeah, cover the squeeze page, and then then show kind of some of the follow-up that you would do from, this is a person that signed into the squeeze page. Here's kind of the campaign.
Right.
Because I feel like you had potential clients show up, and then you had clients that maybe this wasn't a good fit for, and how to do that drip campaign or stay connected. You are the social media guru and the lead generator. So I like on the tech side. No, I don't care if you're selling farm and ranch, homes, or commercial. Follow up is key, and your tools that you use, no matter what division of real estate's important. So thank you so much for doing that for us.
So let me do a screen share. Let's say entire screen. Click share. Okay. Can you see my screen now? Oh, no, I think you have to. Oh, did that work? Gosh.
Yeah, it's up.
Matrix. Okay. So first order of business, you need to have a Canva profile. They have free ones. This is the flyer that we made that you can see, that you saw on the previous screen. So here's your KV Core page. And this is the dashboard where you log into, and we all get this free with EXP. So you're gonna want to go to lead engine, build squeeze page. We're gonna go to single property, and here we'll type in the address of the ranch. Automatically comes up, and we'll put open gate. So when somebody is added to this, and well, you'll see. But when someone adds themselves, we'll know they're from the open gate by this source code. And then I personally do where they have to look. They have to sign in and put their email and name before they can even see the information on the property. And then we click generate link. Get that. Go back. So let me delete that. So you make your pretty flyer page, and then we'll go on the left. Oh gosh, this little button is, oh, there, I can move it. So we're going to go to, I don't know why this won't, hold on. Well, normally there is, hang on. Normally there is a QR code.
Go to apps and scroll down.
Is it apps?
And scroll. There you go.
QR code. There we go. Okay. They must have just recently changed that.
I know, when they update and change, it's like you're used to looking in one spot.
I'm sure it was like they had, oh, well, now it comes up QR code. Okay. Maybe I'm just crazy. So now you have your QR code. And instead of, as agents, I feel like we all hate that awkwardness at an open house, or in our case, an open gate, of trying to get people to sign in, even if it's something the seller wants you to do, so they have a record of who's in the house. It's always this awkward interaction of trying, the people know you're trying to get their information and whatnot. This is a much more authentic way to get somebody's information that's coming to your open house, or in our case, an open gate. So, you share with them as they pull in, you're talking to them. Hey, I'll have this on my phone, and, I'll say, hey, scan this for more information on the property, which they want more information. If they're already at the event.
Yeah. While you're driving around on the buggy, here's the brochure you can look up,
Right.
So, and like you said, it's more authentic, because let's face it, everyone's tired of being spammed by emails and text messages. So the fact that this is, an easier way to do it, and it's more natural. So I love this. This is why you're my tech girl, because you even teach me things. I mean, I call myself, a techie agent, but you have it on a level that I haven't reached yet.
Too funny. And this is this is the page that comes up. This is what their view looks like. In order to get information, they can't scroll or anything to see the property. They have to input their email first. So that's kind of my hack for getting people's information. Let me go back to stop screen. And I feel like that was pretty good. Now I have those buyers' information. So when we were out showing them the property, they had a couple questions on wells. Just, as an example. And so I actually followed up that next morning. You can do that afternoon too if you have the information sooner, but I followed up the next morning, said I was working on getting the information, followed up again the next day and got them the information. And unfortunately, they said that based on the attributes of the property, they thought the price was too high for them. But now I'm talking with them about, potentially buying something else for their needs. This lady particularly wants a roping arena. She grew up as a roper and, wants to have that in the ranch the next ranch they buy. So even though they don't buy, it's just like an open house almost, like where just because they're not buying this one, it's not, and now it's an opportunity for me to represent them as a buyer on another ranch, which is great because hopefully we'll get this ranch sold and then I'll have another ranch that I can sell. So in the words of Lindsey, just trying to milk the property.
I was just about to say, way to milk the listing. I can't take credit for that, but I think it's even funnier now in Farm and Ranch that, milking the listing, it's not just about selling that property.
Yeah.
It's also about repeating your brand out there, getting the mind share on that internet highway. It gives you another reason to talk about what you do and what you love without the boring, oh, this is just listed. Oh, we sold this. You're giving them actual content and something to talk about. And I love, Halle, that you did that. I mean, how many times you get done, obviously, closing up an open house, closing up an open gate. I mean, there's a lot. You're cleaning up, you're making sure all the gates are locked, you're loading trailers with buggies. And, to be able to go back into the office and say, okay, these were the clients. Let me follow up with them. And then also, too, I can email them other leads and other things. So way to milk the listing and potentially get a new buyer and brand that. So totally awesome there. Very excited for you on that. And thank you so much for sharing. I know we kind of had a quick day on the follow-up side, but I'm very proud of you. If y'all missed out or y'all have any questions, please reach out to Halle. Halle, if you want to drop, where are they following you? Is it at the Halle home?
So, yes, I actually put it in my name.
Right. Awesome. So if you'd like to reach out to Halle on her Instagram page, message her as well. Same thing for me. You can reach me it's super easy. It's a 1-833 TX Ranch. I got me a little vanity number. Love it. Yeah, so 1-833-TX Ranch. You can call me, you can text me there, or if you'd like to schedule a one-on-one, I do have an open calendar. You can book a time to chat with me and whatnot, and we can go over whether it be in-depth farm and ranch stuff, open gates, or like I said, if you're looking to move to EXP and you're a farm and ranch agent, we're happy to help you and tell you about these awesome opportunities that we have collaborating with amazing agents like you, Halle, and me. So thank you so much for your time today. And I see our puppy's going to wish us well and goodbye too.
Seller's Agent Scout.
Yeah. Top dog. Thank you, Halle. You have a blessed day.
You too. Thanks, Linz.
You're welcome.